Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily Reads, and today I have for you my March TBR. Now, I had posted earlier a few weeks ago some ideas that I had for the tropical readathon, which I'm still doing. Um, but I've kind of narrowed down what I hope to get to in March. I know it's March 5th, it's a little late. I am sick, so my voice is really out of it. I went to prep care on Thursday, took my 29th COVID test. Yes, 29. Um, that's the joys of having worked in a healthcare related field back when the pandemic started, and that we had a test every other week. And then I'm asthmatic and I'm allergic to basically anything that's outside. So a lot of those symptoms mimic COVID. So, and I'm a teacher now, and so they're just extra cautious with me because of all of that. So 29th COVID test, 29th negative. Um, but I've got congestion and coughing and the whole 9 yards. So hopefully I could get through this video without coughing. I'm finally feeling somewhat better. I took Thursday and Friday off of work. And so here I am. So I have read some of these books already because, like I said, I had 3 days off or 2 days off of work. And so I spent the time resting and reading. So I'm going to go in a little bit more specific of what I plan on reading in March. So first I plan on reading, and I actually have already read this, Isn't It Romantic by Alyssa K. Adams. This is the fourth book in the Bromance Book Club. So it just follows each book has a different male lead. And it's a group of men. They are like the movers and shakers of Nashville, Tennessee. And they meet and they read romance novels together. And they use their romance novels reading and the information that they learn from it to be better husbands and boyfriends and fiancés. And in this book, we get Vlad, who is called the Russian, because he's from Russia. And he is a hockey player. And years ago, he married a childhood friend named Elena. And he married her because her journalist father had died. And she needed a way to come to America. And once in America, he settles in Nashville where he's a hockey player, and she moves to Chicago to study journalism at Northwestern. And they just have a marriage of convenience. And then he gets injured, and she comes back to Nashville to help him on the road to recovery because he's on crutches and can't put any weight on his leg. And so, of course, Vlad is secretly in love with his wife, and the Romance Book Club tries to help him win his wife back. The next book I was planning on reading for March, and I've already finished it, is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This is the first book in the Keeper of Lost Cities series. I think there's supposed to be 10 books, and there's a novella also associated with it. 9 books are already out. But in this, we follow Sophie Foster, who's 12 years old, and she is able to hear what people are thinking. And so she's always known that she's different. And then a boy named Fitz comes along and says, hey, the reason why you're different is because you're not human, you're an elf. And we are, come with me, and you're going to learn what it means to be an elf. So she goes off and learns what it means to be an elf and how to develop her abilities. And that there are also, she also learns that that there's a mystery behind who she is. So Keeper of Lost Cities. This is also a middle grade book, which I chose also to read because of middle grade March. Then the next book, then again, I've already read this. This is what happens when you have a 4-day weekend. You read. Is Rick Riordan's. This is the second, The Dark Prophecy, the second book in the Trials of Apollo. And this follows again Apollo. He is on a mission to meet with the different oracles and then hear what their prophecy is, and follow those prophecies and fulfill those prophecies. Also, while trying to stop the, I'm going to mispronounce it probably, triumvirate, which is a group of three Greek and Roman emperors. And we know the identity of one. We learned that identity in the first book. We don't know the identity of the other two. And he also has a demigod, Meg, who, because he's a fallen god, a demigod can like somehow bond with them and then become their master. So he has to follow any orders that Meg gives him. So, Trials of Apollo. Then the next book I plan on reading, and as you can see, I just started this today. I'm only on page 32, is The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. I am working my way through the Cosmere. So, and I'm trying to do it in publication order. So in this is now book 1 in Mistborn Era 2, or book 4 in the entire Mistborn cycle. And Wax, it follows Wax and Wayne. Wax is, he has to come back to Elendel. This is now 300 years after the events in Mistborn Era 1. And Wax is coming back to Elendel after his uncle dies, and he has to take over the duties and responsibilities of his uncle and become the head of that noble house. And again, follows, all of the elemental, or the elemancy, or the magic that involves metals, and it follows all of that. So, looking forward to reading this. I also plan on reading The Stranger by Albert Camus. This will hopefully be a relatively quick read. It's only 123 pages. Yeah, it's only 123 pages. So, but this is the story of a man who gets drawn into like a murder on a beach in Algeria. And so the reason why I'm reading it is as part of the Read Around the World challenge, my book for Algeria. And again, it's a short book for my Tropical Readathon. The next book I also hope to read is Amari and the Night Brothers. Again, this is a middle grade book. So this will also fulfill not only a prompt for the Tropical Readathon, but middle grade March. And I'm not going to go too much on what this is about. It's super popular on Book Talk and BookTube. So I'm intrigued. It's the first book in the series, so we'll see. I also hope to read a few stories in here. So in my notebook, my reading order, I need to read The 11th Metal, The Emperor's Soul, and Shadows for Silence. So those are the 3 that I hope to read in here. And I need to read those before next month because I really want to read Words of Radiance next month. So, and then I need to read The Great Hunt. I was going to read this last month. It didn't happen. I didn't get to it. I'm on page 173. Like I started it. There's no way that I could have finished it last month. I've heard so many good things about this book, so I'm hoping that I will like it. I do, but then I'm also drawn. Right now, I'm not going to lie, I'm drawn to the quicker reads and just being able to knock through some books. So I think that's kind of my issue right now after having read already, January, I only read 3 books because I read Eye of the World and I read the bulk of Way of Kings in January. So, February was a better reading month. So now I'm kind of I just want to knock through books and get the numbers back up before I dive into bigger books. So I'm hoping to read this throughout the month, and then I probably will heavy duty hit this on spring break. And then another book that I'm hoping to get to on spring break, So the Tropical Readathon has you pick your team based on genre, and so I'm team fantasy, and then there are two like genre specific tropes for your team, and you can get bonus points for those books for reading those within those tropes for your genre. And one of the tropes is like a Greek mythology kind of trope, which that's Trials of Apollo. And then the other one is gaslight fantasy. And so when I Googled gaslight fantasy, I had two books that I own that fit that. One is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. I've read that trilogy numerous times throughout the years. So, and I own that trilogy. Like I got that recently just because I wanted to revisit it and see if it still holds up for me. But I wanted to read something new. So if I have time, I'm going to read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And again, by Susanna Clarke. And again, this will probably be a spring break book because it is a beast. Coming in at 82 pages. So yeah, it's a beast. So this basically is set in 1806. They're right after the war with Napoleon, and practical magic has faded into the nation's past. But then they discover that there is a practicing magician that's still around. That's Mr. Norrell, and he is challenged to demonstrate his powers. And so he causes the statues of York Cathedral to speak and sing and sends a thrill throughout the country. And then he goes to London and he raises a woman from the dead. And then he enters the war and he summons an army of ghostly ships to terrify the French. So, of course, Norrell is taking everything by storm. And then Jonathan Strange, he's a novice, and he says, I am here too. And so he is opposite of Norrell. And Jonathan Strange, I guess, becomes the pupil of Mr. Norrell. And he becomes as Jonathan Strange's powers grow, his ambitions grow, and he becomes obsessed with the founder of English magic, a shadowy 12th century figure known as the Raven King. And he risks everything. So I've heard good things about it. I've also heard negative things about this book. So who knows? Maybe I'll start it and just break it up in chunks. But I'm also working through, I don't know how I'm going to manage two beasts of a book this month. Thank goodness for spring break coming up. Hopefully spring break, I have no plans other than read and get some cleaning done. So hopefully that will be a very productive time for me. So let me know your thoughts on what I should prioritize. I have a few other books kind of like in the back burners. If I get to them, that would be awesome. If I don't, I'm not too hopeful that I'll get to them because I have two big old books on my TBR and I'm sick. So like I'm going back to work on Monday, and I know that when I come home, my main priority is going to just be rest. But thank you so much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are on books I'm reading, what I should prioritize, and what you're reading. Bye.